Hey there, YouTube. It's your girl Nakia, aka the Neurodivergent Reader. Um, I know it's been a while since my first video, um, and I have reasons for that. But first, I just want to say thank you for all the support and all the love on my first video. I really do appreciate it, and it made me feel really good. So thank you. It's been a couple of weeks. Feels like we're already at the end of January, and so much has happened. Went to Vegas, came back, determined to make a video, and just all motivation just went right out the window. So it took me a while to kind of get my mojo back. But we are back, and I thought maybe now would be a good time to just hop on here, say hello, and talk about some books, because that's why we're here, right? So I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 books. 10, if you count the trilogy that I have individually. But I have, some books that I thought would be good to just kind of talk about, that I'm hoping to get to this year. Some that I've acquired when I went to Las Vegas recently. Some I acquired years ago. Some I acquired a few months ago. So so I thought I would just come on here and just talk about some books that I'm hoping to get to this year. But before we start that, can we just, January is almost over, and I've read one book. One. So, yeah. Do we want to talk about that? No, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. Okay. Now, first book is called Mama Said by Kristen Gentry. This, I got this, apparently, the tag on the back says that I got this at McKay's Books in Manassas, which I don't think, did I get this in Manassas? Did I get this? I may have. A lot of the books that I get are, people have cover buys. I have synopsis buys. So if the synopsis sounds good, but then again, that's a lot of books, right? But I read the synopses and I'm like, if it's really interesting to me, then say no more. I'm getting it. But let me go ahead and just read the synopsis of this, because this sounds really good. I think this is short stories, probably. The linked stories in Mama Said are set in Louisville, Kentucky, a city with a rich history steeped in tobacco, bourbon, and gambling, indulgences that can quickly become gripping and destructive vices. Set amid the tail end of the crack epidemic and the rise of the opioid crisis, Mama Said evokes black family life in all its complexity, following Jay Lynn along with her cousins Zaria and Angel as they come of age struggling against their mother's drug addictions. Jay Lynn heads to college intent on gaining distance from her depressed mother, only to learn that her mother's illness has reached a terrifying peak. She fears the chaos and instability of her extended family. Will prove too much for her boyfriend, whose idyllic family feels worlds not miles apart from her own. When bats invade Zaria's new home, she is forced to determine how much she is willing to sacrifice to be a good mother. Angel rebels on Derby night, risking her safety to connect with her absent mother and the wild ways that consumed her. Mama Said separates from stereotypes of black families, presenting instead the joy, humor, and love that coexist with the trauma of drug abuse within communities. Kristen Gentry's stories showcase the wide-reaching repercussions of addiction and the ties that forever bind daughters to their mothers, flaws and all. So this sounds really good. I don't know what else to say, because again, I haven't read it. But this just sounds like it would be really good to just get a glimpse and take a ride into these ladies' lives and see how they all come together. But yeah, so that sounds good. Next book is the second book in a 3-book series, This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. So I am a Kennedy Ryan stan at this point. I have read Before I Let Go. I think I read it. I don't think I read it last year. I want to say it was maybe the year before that, but I could be wrong. But I read it and absolutely loved it. And I don't think at the time that I knew that a second book was coming out. But yeah, I have the second book, and it's, the cover is gorgeous. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Look at that. Like, I don't know if the camera can pick up the foiling of the flowers here, but oh my word. And okay, so caveat, I am not one for real people on covers. I don't know why, but for some reason Kennedy Ryan is a exception exception to the rule. So but yeah, I really loved Before I Let Go, and I'm really, really hoping that I thoroughly enjoy this book. But let's read the synopsis, shall we? Soledad Barnes has her life all planned out, because of course she does. She plans everything. She fixes everything. She's never met a party she couldn't host or a charge she couldn't lead. But none of her varied talents help when the life she built with the man who was supposed to be her forever goes poof in a cloud of betrayal and disillusion. There's no time to grieve. She's too busy keeping a roof over her daughters' heads and food on the table. And in the process of saving them all, Soledad rediscovers herself. From the ashes of a life burned to the ground, something bold and new can rise. But when Judah Cross, brilliant single dad and absolute last man she should want but can't seem to resist, enters the picture, can she trust him? Can she trust herself? After all she's lost and found, is she brave enough to take a risk for what could be? So this is following, I guess, the friend of... Why am I forgetting the name of the character from the first book? But this is the friend of the character of the first book. And she... I don't know too much about her. But yeah. I'm hoping that this is as good as Before I Let Go. I'm trying to stay away from any and all reviews, because that reading reviews sometimes makes it hard for me to read the book objectively and enjoy it objectively, because I'm going into it with either high expectations or low expectations based on the reviews, not based on how I'm feeling and how I would want, how I'm hoping the book is going to be. So, but this sounds good, but I'm really, really hoping that, I think the third book comes out this year. So I'm hoping I can get to this before that happens. So, next book. Surprise, surprise. Another Kennedy Ryan book. Now, this I got recently when I was in a layover in Detroit, I believe, coming back from Vegas. My fiance and I, we went to a bookstore, as you do, and I found this book. Now, I've heard good things about this book. I don't know if it's classified as a sports romance, maybe, but I've heard that I guess, to check trigger warnings, because there are some things in this book that happen on page and are very detailed that are very triggering, and there are some people that I've heard that they didn't like the book because of the fact that they didn't know about the trigger warnings. So I do know about the trigger warnings, and I think I should be fine with it. But I'm not one for sports related romances. I just kind of like my romances to be regular, degular, set in the real world type of thing. Not a lot of, because I'm not really a sports person. I love the Washington Redskins Commanders, but I can't watch a game because I don't understand sport. So, but I'm hoping that this has more romance and more character stuff than sports stuff. But I'm here for it whatever's in it because it's Kennedy Ryan. But let's see, the synopsis for this says, Iris Dupree meets August West in a sports bar during her last semester of college. It's the conversation of a lifetime and sends sparks flying in every direction. The connection is undeniable, but the timing is wrong. August is poised for the NBA draft and Iris belongs to another man, basketball's golden boy and August's longtime rival. The two go their separate ways, but they often recall that electric night and what could have been. While August has embarked on his all-star life, studded with wealth and fame, Iris's perfect public relationship has become a nightmare behind closed doors, a tarnished dream of fool's gold. When August re-enters her life, the world seems briefly bright again, but Iris's dark nights are not over yet. To survive, she must build her own strength and trust that her bond with August can endure after all this time, even when her fraudulent prince has vowed never to let her go. I don't even care what's on the back. It's Kennedy Ryan. It's Kennedy Ryan. So I'm automatically sold, but I think this is part of a trilogy. So I'm hoping that I'll really, really enjoy this as well. Third book. This is This I Know by Eldonna Edwards. Now, I got this book also in a layover in Michigan. I believe we were at the bookstore. So this was a case of, we were looking at books and we read the synopses and I'm like, this sounds really good. And he's like, this does sound really good. And it's like, okay, should we get it? Am I getting it? Are you getting it? Like, what's happening here? So he ended up buying it for me. But I've never heard of this author before. But the synopsis, which I will read, it sounds really good. Like all the synopses for these books sound really, really good. But the proof is in the pages, right? 11-year-old Grace Carter has a talent for hiding things. She's had plenty of practice burying thoughts and feelings that might anger her strict evangelical pastor father, and concealing the deep intuition she carries inside. The knowing, as Grace calls it, offers glimpses of people's pasts and futures. It enables her to see into the depth of her mother's sadness, and even allows Grace to talk to Isaac, her twin brother who died at birth. To her wise, loving Aunt Pearl, the knowing is a family gift. To her daddy, it's close to witchcraft. Grace can't see into someone's thoughts without their permission, but it doesn't take her special talent to know that her small community is harboring its share of secrets. A young girl has gone missing. Within Grace's own family, too, the cracks are widening, as her sisters, Hope, Joy, and Chastity, enjoy the normal life that eludes Grace. It's Grace's kinship with other outsiders that keep her afloat. Lyle, a gentle homeless man, and Lola, a free-spirited new girl at school. But when her mother lapses into deep depression after bringing home a new baby, Grace will face a life-changing choice: ignore her gift and become the obedient daughter her father demands, or find the courage to make herself heard, even if it means standing apart. Ooh, dun dun dun. So this sounds really good. Yeah, I read this and I'm like, oh, I want to know what the knowing is. Like, what is this? Does she have some sort of, I don't know what the word is. Some sort of, I don't know what the word is. But yeah, I don't know what the knowing is. Does she have a power to, she can read someone's thoughts or see someone's thoughts type of thing? It reminds me of a movie, if you have never seen it, called Eve's Bayou. That's all I'm going to say. Go find it. Go watch it. It's so good. It's got Samuel L. Jackson in it. It's set in Louisiana. So good. Okay. What book are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so fifth book. Okay, so this is What the Fireflies Knew by Kai Harris. Again, this is another airport pickup that I got. that also sounded really, really good. And yeah, the synopsis for this says, an ode to black girlhood and adolescence. What the Fireflies Knew follows Kenyatta Bernice, KB for short, after her father dies of an overdose, and the debts incurred from his addiction result in the loss of their family home in Detroit. Over the course of a single sweltering summer, KB attempts to navigate a world that is turned upside down. KB and her teenage sister Nia are sent by their overwhelmed mother to live with their estranged grandfather in Lansing, Michigan. With her mother no longer present, KB finds herself with only an increasingly distant Nia and a grumpy, silent grandfather to count on. And everyone in her family seems to be keeping secrets. As KB facilitates between or facilitates vacillates, there we go, I can read, between resentment, abandonment, and loneliness, she is forced to carve out a different identity for herself and find her own voice. A dazzling and moving novel about family, identity, and race. What the Fireflies Knew poignantly reveals that heartbreaking but necessary component of growing up. The realization that loved ones can be flawed and that the perfect family we all dream of looks different up close. This sounds like it might be heartbreaking. This is going to take me probably on a very, very heartbreaking adventure. And I'm here for it. Okay, so okay, so I have a trilogy here that was given to me. When was this given to me? 2018 maybe, by a very, very, very dear friend of mine at the time, because I saw it and I wanted it. I don't really remember when I saw it, where I saw it, but I know that when I did see it, I needed to have it. And so she also got the trilogy as well, but we haven't read it. We've had it since then, and it's 2025, and we haven't read it. So this trilogy is called the Reader Trilogy. But I wanted it mostly for the covers. But here, let me show you the cover. This is the cover of the first book. It's a Reader by Tracy Cheat. Look at that. Look at that. You can't sit there and tell me that's not beautiful, bro. You can't. Okay? The second book, The Speaker. Look at that. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Oh my word. Okay? And the third book, The Storyteller. Look at that. That is so pretty. Okay? So, and pay no attention to the fact that The Speaker, book 2, says book 2 of Sea of Ink and Gold, and book 3, The Storyteller, says book 3 of the Reader Trilogy. I don't know why it says that. Maybe she wrote the first 2 and didn't know she was going to write a third or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But, I got these books because, again, I knew nothing about them really, but I saw the covers, and the covers are just gorgeous. But my reading tastes have changed over the years, and I think this is like YA fantasy maybe, and I'm really scared that that I'm not gonna like it. But the goal is to hopefully get this read, or at least attempt to read it this year. And if, one way or another, I guess, if I read it and want to keep it, I'll keep it. If I read it and don't like it, then I get rid of it. Or if I don't make it through, then I get rid of it. But something needs to be done with this trilogy because it's still sitting on my shelf untouched. But the synopsis, I'll read you the synopsis for the first one because the second and the third are going to spoil stuff. So the first one says, Cephia lives her life on the run. After her father is viciously murdered, she flees to the forest with her aunt Nin, the only person left she can trust. They survive in the wilderness together, hunting and stealing what they need, forever looking over their shoulders for new threats. But when Nin is kidnapped, Sephia is suddenly on her own, with no way to know who's taken Nin or where she is. Her only cue. Wow. Okay, let's try that again. Her only clue is a strange rectangular object that once belonged to her father, something she comes to realize is a book. Though reading is unheard of in Sephia's world, she slowly learns, unearthing the book's closely guarded secrets, which may be the key to Nin's disappearance and discovering what really happened the day her father was killed. With no time to lose, and the unexpected help of swashbuckling pirates and an enigmatic stranger, Sephia sets out on a dangerous journey to rescue her aunt, using the book as her guide. In the end, she discovers what the book had been trying to tell her all along. Nothing is as it seems, and the end of her story is only the beginning. So, yeah, I think I wanted to read this because it was a book about finding a book. And that was kind of interesting, but also it's got deckled edges, and I don't know if I'll be able to find any in this book. They're in here. Oh, I found one. Where did it go? Throughout the pages of the book, I don't know if you can see it. You might not be able to see it. The page number, there are words. Not on every page, but throughout the book there are words in some of the pages, and I guess it says a story or a paragraph or something like that. So I'm hoping that if I read the book that I could write down the words and figure out what it says. And that was something that kind of intrigued me, that there were words written in the book. Additional little things like that in the book. So I'm hoping to get to this year, because I'm tired of having it on my shelf. Next up, so this next book, I read the first book by this author, and I'm not a thriller person, I'm not a mystery person, my anxiety can't take it. But Symphony of Secrets by Brendan Slocum. I read The Violin Conspiracy because I wanted to support a Black author. His book sounded really good. I met him twice at some book events, and I thought the book sounded really, really interesting. Wanted to support him. Bought the book, read the book, and I think the book was like a 3 for me. Not his fault, totally my fault, but it was like a 3. But I still wanted to try again. So because of that, I got the second book and met him, and he signed it and the whole thing. And I think I tried to read it a couple months ago, and I guess my brain just wasn't in the right headspace for it. So I had to put it down. But I'm really, really hoping to get to this year, because I think he has a book. He has another book coming out this year, I believe, as well. So, but I'm really scared because his other book was a 3-star for me, and I really, really want to like his books, and I want to enjoy them, and I want to support him. But if it's just not my thing, not every book is for everybody. So if it's not my thing, then I may not get the third book. I don't want to get a book for the sake of getting a book, and I want to support him, but I'm not going to get books that I know I'm not going to read or enjoy. Yeah. But okay, let me read the synopsis. So this says, in present-day New York City, musicology professor Bern Hendricks has just received the call of a lifetime to authenticate the long-lost musical masterpiece of Frederick Delaney, arguably the greatest and most prolific composer since Beethoven. Bern believes he knows everything there is to know about the man and his music, but Bern soon discovers that the truth behind the masterpieces, and behind Delaney himself, is far more complicated than he could have ever imagined. Back in 1920s Manhattan, struggling musician Freddie Delaney meets Josephine Reed. Josephine is living on the streets, sneaking into jazz clubs and writing music in every genre, from jazz to classical to danceable show tunes. She's a natural, and Freddie convinces her to work with him. With Josephine as Delaney's silent partner, his career takes off. But who is the real genius here? In the present, Byrne teams up with tech-savvy Ebony Washington, and the two begin to uncover clues that indicate Delaney may have had help composing his most successful works. Armed with more questions than answers, and caught in the crosshairs of a powerful organization determined to keep its secret hidden, Byrne and Ebony will move heaven and earth in their dogged quest to uncover Josephine's legacy and right history's wrongs. So, this book, I think, is about a composer who may not have written his own stuff. So, this sounds interesting. So, and this, for the way it looks chunky, it's less than 500 pages. So hopefully I will get into this, enjoy this, and want to get the third book. But I'm really, really scared, you guys. Okay. So, last book. Okay, so I recently got this book when I was with my dear friend, and she was in town for Christmas, for the holidays, and we got together. She had a little bit of time. We spent about 3-4 hours or so at a used bookstore in Rockville, Maryland, I believe. So we're walking around, and I found this book called Whale Fall by Daniel Kraus. Never heard of this author. Don't know anything about him. I don't know if this is his first book. It doesn't say, so I'm not sure. But I read the synopsis, and I was shocked. I was like, I have to have this book. This book sounds amazing to me. So, okay. So Jay Gardner has given himself a fool's errand to find the remains of his deceased father in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Monastery Beach. He knows it's a long shot, but Jay feels it's the only way for him to lift the weight of guilt he has carried since his dad's death by suicide the previous year. The dive begins well enough, but the sudden appearance of a giant squid puts Jay in very real jeopardy, made infinitely worse by the arrival of a sperm whale looking to feed. Suddenly, Jay is caught in the squid's tentacles and drawn into the whale's mouth, where he is pulled into the first of its 4 stomachs. He quickly realizes he has 1 hour before his oxygen runs out. 1 hour to defeat his demons and escape the belly of a whale. I'm like, are you serious? That sounds really good. Like, is he gonna make it out? 4 stomachs? What? I was like, no, say no more. Hopefully I will get to this and will enjoy it. But yeah, that is all the books that I am looking forward to for this year so far. I am really, really excited. Like I said, I've only read 1 book this month. It's been a very busy month for me with all the things that I'm having to prepare for and things that I'm looking forward to and things like that. But yeah, this month it just completely wiped me out already, and I've only done 1 thing. But yeah, but I thought I would come on here and grace you all with my presence. And yeah. But yeah, so that's it. And so yeah, so I guess I will see you guys next time. Yeah. Bye.